Hello and welcome to 20 Lore Pro. We're here live at Milton's Collectible for their 2.5K Lorcana tournament in Allen, Texas. We're here with the top 8. I'm your announcer, SirAshtown. So thankful to be here today at Dallas Card Show's Investabilia card convention here in Allen, Texas. If you're ever in the Dallas area and you're looking for a convention to go to or a card show, head on over to dallascardshow.com to find out their schedule. They are having another convention September 5th through the 8th. Head on over to dallascardshow.com to find out more. We want to thank you, the viewers, for tuning in today and for joining us here on Twitch. If you missed any of today's rounds, you can head on over to 20 Lore Pro's YouTube and check those out later on this week. I'm so thankful to be here as your announcer, SirAshtown, and for our behind the scenes team, Stunning Rob, the founder of the 20 Lore Pro Discord, and Luxac, our producer. He's from Nexus. If you're ever in Waco, Texas, and you're looking for an esports competition to play in, head on over to Nexus, where they're going to have a Battle of the Banners competition. It's a year-long esports competition, multiple games from fighting games, Madden, different types. Head on over to Nexus, Battle of the Banners to find out more. We want to thank GFQ Underground for those wonderful playmats that you see there on today's screen. If you like the playmat and you want one of your own, head on over to 20lore.pro, our merch section, to go to our fourth wall where you can buy yours today. Well, here we are in top 8. We've seen Sean in round 4 piloting this Amber Emerald list versus Robert piloting a Amber Ruby list. Turn 1 Pluto, pretty scary. I mentioned earlier that a turn 1 Pluto into a Gaston, kind of strong. We'll see what Robert is able to do here. A lot of times saving that Pluto until exactly when it's needed is pretty important. Robert does ink a Shift Mulan. We know that that is an option in this list. Ooh, looks like he's gonna play a Doc. Opts for the turn 2 Sisu. Not a bad play, not able to easily be bounced unless we see a Mother's Knows Best. Easy decision, decides to go ahead and challenge into that Pluto with a Sir Hiss. Every time you have the option to challenge in to get rid of one of these characters that reduces the cost of any character, really is what you want to do. There's a second Mulan inked by Robert. Sad to see that. Didn't see a turn 1. Not needing those Mulans, not that they can't shift. Goes ahead and inks 2. Man, what a great brawl target. And some of these lists, kind of controversial. These Mufasa lists, some play brawl, some play even some Be Prepareds, some play both. Tough decision. We talked with Humble about 3 weeks ago over what he would play at DLC Toronto. In his list, he is playing the Stitch Abomination, is playing Nessus. We don't know necessarily what Robert's playing, but we do know he's playing brawls. That may indicate that he does play maybe some form of Be Prepareds or Sisu, like you see there on the screen. Not a bad shift line into this 3-drop Sisu. Here's Sean with an aerial. Doesn't have a Diablo anymore. Does sing the Sudden Shell, knowing that his evasive character is protected. Robert having to decide what he wants to discard. We see a Doc, a Rapunzel, a Maui. Don't know what that last card is. A Surfer Stitch. Yeah, that's a card you don't necessarily want to see right now. Is great ink, however. Robert gonna have to decide what he wants to ink, but it looks like he finds it in the form of this Maleficent Dragon. We're gonna see if Sean can start playing some of these disruption cards like Muses, or even playing a... We don't talk about Bruno on a Doc. You certainly don't want anything to cost less. We don't talk about Bruno, not a bad card to play, especially if you can follow it up with a Prince John beforehand. Robert questing going up to 4. Ariel is able to sing. We don't talk about Bruno, but goodness, if he had a Prince John beforehand, what a great card that could be. A great play line. We just say that Robert, we know he's got the Maui. Great, really follow up into the Ariel to get rid of it if he can get the ink available or the ability to play it with the dock. Here is that we don't talk about Bruno does choose the dock. We're going to see if he can rip a good card from Robert's hand, hopefully the dock, for Sean's sake. Not what Robert wants to see, hopefully. And it is the dock. Wow, what a play on Sean's side of the board, and a lot of luck. Sometimes it's that luck that's really needed to help you kind of get the rest of the way. Now Robert's gonna have to discard. His inkwell is kind of limited at this point. Can't play really a lot of the cards in his deck. He's gonna have to think about just inking everything to try to find answers that he can top deck and then play. That's something about the Mufasa lists that are very strong, that it can easily find top decks because all the cards are so strong. They're great to play off the top as long as you have the ink. Plays a Rapunzel. Again, a strong willpower, able to give you more draw. Robert really putting himself here in a great position that even if Sean does have discard ability, he's going to have the ink in his inkwell and cards in his hand, able to play the ones he wants. We'll have to see how many cards Sean does have in his hand. Looks like he's got 4. Finds a Diablo, able to get in with the Sir Hiss. This is where Robert wants to be right now. Having these 2 characters on board that can quest for 2, needs to find something preferably for this Diablo, but having the ability to have enough ink to play all of his characters and really present a board presence that is a threat not easily taken out by any of Sean's cards like Muses or bounce abilities. Opts play a Mother Gothel followed by a Madrigal to draw. Goes ahead and quests out using the draw ability this turn before Diablo is able to gain the advantage off of it. Right now, a Gaston. There's that Madrigal for you. Removes 2, allows you to draw a card. Putting Mother Gothel from 3/4 with 1 damage. I don't think Robert inked last turn. Hand's starting to get kind of limited, but he does have quite a bit of lore presented on the board. 4 between Rapunzel and Sisu. 1 each on the Mother Gothel and this Madrigal. Akita might be a good option here. That's something that Sean does play. Does have a... We don't talk about Bruno. We'll see if he can't take out... Hits the another Maui. Wow, that's 2 Mauis gone. That's kind of scary. We saw one get discarded. We've seen another one get discarded here from the... We don't talk about Bruno. Getting some draws off of this Diablo. Sean really trying to draw as much as he can, create enough disruption on the board to get back into this game before Robert is able to play out anything too strong that he's not able to deal with. Robert here, it looks like he does have a Rapunzel. Not able to have something to take out this Diablo though. Is going to continue to give Sean the ability to gain more and more resources. I've been playing a Rapunzel right now on the Mother Gothel, only netting 1 card. Might be kind of greedy here, but I do think questing seems like a good option when all your characters are strong enough to handle whatever Sean may play out without them getting bounced. Does present another 2 quester in Sisu and does exactly that in questing out. I think that's a great play, going up to 12, really pushing the threat onto Sean to have plays. Robert here still at 5. Sean needing to find muses possibly, or something that can find a way to really start dealing with a lot of Robert's board. Let's see what his last 2 cards are. He is playing the Brawls and B-Preps. Maybe a Mufasa-less list. Some lists have gone that direction. Does have the ability to sing and play Under the Sea, taking out the majority of Robert's board. Put them in the bash pile, but they actually belong under the deck. Unless I missed that. I just see the Rapunzel in the bash pile. Made me assume that they got put there instead of the under the deck. The reason that matters is because of Chernobog. Chernobog could be huge, and those cards need to be put under the deck if that's the case. Hopefully that's just my mistake in missing it as an announcer. And now Sean here having a pretty sizable board. Robert's still at 12. That's what this deck wants to do on Sean's side of the board, is disrupt tempo. Put your player off, your opponent off of what he's doing long enough for you to restabilize and chip away. Small, very slowly gaining lore, going up as quickly as you can, using cards like Kita to protect your board. That way it can get challenged into while you're questing up. Now, we know that Sean has seen Robert's hand. He had a B-Prep and he had a Rapunzel. So a follow-up challenge is bound to happen in order to draw. But where does he want to go with this? Certainly Diablo questing. Maybe even, definitely Sir Hiss with the Vase of 3-1. But he may want to trade into this Mother Gothel. Using the Sir Hiss and the Diablo, not a bad option. Brawls this game have been doing a lot of work on Diablo. Does opt for the trade with the Diablo and the Sir Hiss. Going up to 5. Robert now left with this Madrigal left on the board. With a Diablo on Sean's side, I'm not sure how many Brawls Roberts plays. If he's playing a Mufasa-less list, not a bad option, possibly going 4-4 even. Looking at his bash pile, trying to find out what he's got. Yeah, it looks like I was mistaken. I think he did put all those cards on the bottom because I think he's counting up for this Chernobog. Yeah, he's got quite a bit, maybe even free. I didn't get a good count, but he's certainly got enough to play this Chernobog. Well, this Chernobog 3 quester 9/9. If it's bounced by a Mother's Knows Best, not probably getting replayed. However, needs to get dealt with, or Robert is going to go up very quickly. Sean has drawn some off of this Diablo especially. We'll see what he can play. As a Muses, no Mother's Knows Best. Robert is going to go up to 17. 18 possibly. This Chernobog is not getting under the seed anytime soon. And at all. Maybe even Sean could do a... We don't talk about Bruno targeting it, letting it resolve, and then bouncing the Madrigal back to hand. Just trying to bounce all of Robert's cards back. Just think of some options and all of the things that Sean may do to keep back, to keep into this game. Does go up to 18. Just says, hey, have the answers. Go ahead. Sean gonna have to find a way to take care of this Chernobog. Looks like he is counting out 4. Maybe even gonna have to just challenge with everybody. Now that I'm thinking about this, this might be his only chance, is to bounce the Madrigal and then challenge him with everything. Muse is at 2, Daisy Duck's at 2, Diablo's at 2, and Sir Hiss is 3. He would need absolutely everybody. But if he doesn't do something, Sean is not going to stay in this game. And he's going for it. He did it. He challenged with every single character on his side of the board, opting to get rid of this Chernobog. It's a mad play, but it is, without having a Mother's Knows Best, his only way to have stayed in the game. Taking a peek. Oh, there is a Super Goof. A Super Goof challenging in would give him the 2 lore in order to win the game. Robert, you can't quest here on Sean's side of the board anymore, or else you're going to get Super Goofed. Robert's going to be able to quest for 1 with this Madrigal and play any character. This game 1, I should say, I guess game 2, looking at the stats, is... I'm sorry, yes. We took off that extra star. This game 1 is looking all but over here. He decides to play Super Goof, saying, hey, if you got disruption for it, you got disruption for it. You can bounce it if you want to. I don't know if you do that though, because you know your opponent plays Under the Sea. Doesn't have the ink though for it. He's got 6. So I guess you know you're not getting Under the Seed. Sean does scoop it up, can't find a way to deal with Robert's board, but goodness, what a strong showing by Robert with this Ruby, Amber, possibly Mufasa-less list, playing that Chernobog, and Sean making that decisive play to go ahead and challenge with everything on his side of the board into that Chernobog. Couldn't find the disruption cards that he needed, like we don't talk about Bruno's or the Muses early enough in order to handle what Robert was putting out there. Congratulations to Robert on our game 1, taking that here in top 8. I'm getting word that the convention hall is going to close here around 6. So we're going to have to end today's tournament here a little early unless we go out into the hall. We're talking right now with the convention host to figure out if we need to shift our streaming rig over. So we will have more information here in just a little bit on whether or not we're going to continue streaming the top 8. Again, you're here with 20 Lore Pro, and we thank you so much for joining us today. If you're here on Twitch, thank you so much. Feel free to follow and get notified anytime that we're live again for any of these tournaments. If you have the ability to and would like to support us, feel free to subscribe or use your Amazon Prime Every little bit helps, and we greatly appreciate it. If you missed any of today's rounds and would like to watch any of them, you can head on over to 20 Lore Pro's YouTube, where we'll have all of those live for you later on this week. We want to thank Milton's Collectibles for hosting today's Lorcana tournament. This is a 2.5K Lorcana tournament with over 60 players. This tournament is DLC Toronto format, meaning that it's set 1 through 4 with the Buckey errata in place. Very excited to see how these players have been playing so far with lots of different deck variations, and cannot wait to see what comes out of DLC Toronto with this small set format. Really excited to be here with 20 Lore Pro, giving you the best in competitive Lorcana. Again, I'm your announcer, SirAshtown, and behind the scenes is Luxac, our producer from Nexus. Here's a turn 1 Diablo from Sean, able to take a great peek at Robert's hand. We see 2 docks, a Flynn Frenemy, Mufasa. It is a Mufasa list. It does play Mufasa with Be Prepared Some Brawls. Strong choice. That can be highly debatable in the community, but honestly, Robert's been seeing success so far with that decision, having options to get rid of those Diablos when it's needed. Let's see if he's got a turn 1 play that I missed. I did. It was a Mulan. And we know that he has the shift targets. We know he plays Madrigal, and we know he has Rapunzel's. So options to heal this Mulan. Last game we watched Robert ink 2 shift Mulans. We'll see if he can't get the ability for this Mulan to be healed and then shift. If you like the playmats that you're watching, that you see here on the screen, and you'd like one for yourself, head on over to 20lore.pro for our merch store where you can purchase yours today. There's a turn 2 shift Diablo from Sean, discarding a We Don't Talk About Bruno, able to draw alongside Robert for his turn. Robert debating if he wants to play this Flynn Frenemy or possibly ink it. That Sir Hiss with the 3 power really prevents him from gaining what he would immediately off of that Flynn Frenemy. Does have a Mother Gothel. Tough decisions when you know he's got the Rapunzel in hand. This Diablo is able to stay for another round, no brawls to challenge into it. I see a quest here in the Mulan. Not too worried about it being traded into a Diablo or to a Sir Hiss. Here's a turn 3 aerial. Now, if we can get a turn 4 Muses, start singing songs with the aerial, we can start seeing a lot of bounce recursion. Mother Gothel, though, cannot be chosen as a target by Muses due to it being a 3/4. Does find a Paint the Roses, which would help in the Muses being able to target Mother Gothel, giving one character +1 and another one -1, I believe. He does that here and draws a card. Challenges in with the Diablo, allowing his Diablo to be saved, getting rid of a target that could be healed, while also drawing cards. Sean really trying to disrupt and maintain hand size, that way he has options for whatever Robert does play, like this Doc. Doc just represents a great card in the sense that it can allow a character to cost 1 less, meaning that you can play a turn 6 1 turn earlier. Here's the Paint the Roses red up there on the screen for you to read. 2 characters each get -1 and then draw a card. And Doc being able to quest for 2 with a 2/3 body here against characters that aren't as strong, pretty strong for Robert to have. But here's the muses, here's the singing, exactly what we were saying that Sean would most likely want to see. You play the muses, you're able to bounce your opponent's entire board, plays a Mother's Knows Best in order to bounce some other Gothel. Really has a board state here where now he can start questing, start playing out, while taking care of whatever Robert's going to play one of each turn. A lot of the cards in Robert's deck are so high cost that you can only play one thing at a time. Not everything, of course, can be bounced because of Muse's restriction of 2 or less, but you never know when the Paint the Roses Red are going to come back out. And 2 Mother Gothels, 2 great targets for Rapunzel to hit, and 2 great challengers. We're going to have to see what Robert can do to try to increase his inkwell and also present high enough threats that Sean's going to have to answer. Let's see what he's got. 2 Mufasas, Maui, and Sisu. This time he doesn't hit a single song, which I guess in this case would be Be Prepared. Brawl being an action. A lot of cards in Sean's hand. Sean has been drawing so much off of this Diablo, really gaining a lot of resources in his hand. Lots of songs. We see there, You Have Forgotten Me. We know that he's got 4 to 5 cards in his hand for Robert. Is questing out, going up to 5. Cannot bounce these Mother Gothels, but does have cards that may disrupt, or maybe even just passing it back, knowing that these Diablo and the Sir Hiss can't be challenged due to having evasive by any of Robert's characters. And here's Robert drawing a Flynn Frenemy. Good ink for right now. But you do have 2, 3, 4 strongest things on the board right now. Easy target for the Muses though. Sean does remember to draw off a Diablo before Robert makes a play, doesn't miss his trigger because board state hasn't changed yet. Robert inking that Flynn Frenemy and playing a Mufasa. Mufasa, I believe, is a 3/3 and not able to be targeted by the Muses unless we see a Paint the Roses Red. Good target though for a Mother Knows Best. Not able to double recur here though. Akita would be an amazing play, would allow Sean to be able to challenge into these Mother Gothels without losing any of his characters. There's that Mufasa there on the board for you to see. It is a 3/3, quest for 2. And there's a You Have Forgotten Me. We see that Robert's hand is pretty low. He is up to 5 ink. We know he's got a second Mufasa. I think keeping the Mufasa... Okay, he looks like he kept... Okay, so we see the Sudden Chill taking the last card. I'm surprised he decided to keep the Sisu. Sean having a... We don't talk about Bruno, able to bounce back that Mufasa and get rid of it. Not worrying at all. Able to take out everything on Robert's side of the board. Cleaning up nicely, giving Robert no cards in hand. Drawing into a B prep. The Muses and Diablo now really presenting just great board action from Sean. Lots of disruption. Sean's really playing this game very well. maintaining it to where Robert has little to no hand. Now doesn't have the ability to play a Be Prepared, which we know he'd love to play right now. That last turn by Sean was so strong. Automatically inks, knowing that he's not going to be able to use it. It'll most likely get ripped out of his hand. Still has that B prep on the left. Now he's got double Diablos, drawing twice every time Robert draws. Sean really set himself up nicely here, but Robert does have 6 now in his inkwell. Now we can play things like Lady Tremaine, Madame Medusa. It's not too late for Robert, even though Sean has such a great board state and is drawing so much. If Robert can continue to ink, maybe he can get up to this B prep. He's counting 6, 7. There it is. There's the B prep. Not out of the game. Sean still has a ton of cards in hand though. From all that drawing he was doing off of those Diablos. Looks like he's got 9 cards in hand. I say it's not done, but that is a lot of cards to have in your hand. B prep though here, great play for him. Able to at least clear his board and make him have to reestablish. You never know when he'll draw another B prep, having another answer for whatever Sean's playing, or something huge that really couldn't be answered, like a Chernobog. We saw Chernobog was without a Mother Knows Best, or We Don't Talk About Bruno, hard to deal with. Sean using one of those We Don't Talk About Brunos. Able to draw because of Prince John. A lot of recursion that we're seeing here. Sean has all but established a strong board state. I think that's the end of game 2 here. Robert's still playing it out, seeing what Sean may have. Lots of great cards though on Sean's side of the board. He has really established a great lock here between the Muses, the Prince John. Decides to play out the Madrigal. I think maybe even inking it wouldn't have been awful here, knowing that you're at 7, you can go up to 8. I guess at this point, there's not too much you can do. Sean's at 15. Plays a Sir Hiss, make sure that he's representing 9, I believe, on board. No, more than that, game on board. Even if one of those characters is taken out. 4. And that's a Sisu. If he would have inked the Madrigal, like I had just said, he could have played the Sisu. It would have cleared Sean's side of the board minus the Sir Hiss. Could have still kept him in the game. And that's why you always think about your outs. You always think about the cards in your deck. The card I was thinking about that Robert could have played was a Maleficent Dragon, but I completely forgot that Robert did have the 8-drop Sisu in deck, which would have been a huge card to play that turn. Would have at least kept Robert alive for a couple more turns. Doesn't necessarily mean at all that he would have won, but could have played to more of his outs. And that's something that as a player, you never want to assume that the game is done until you've thought about all of your outs. If you think about all your outs and you can't find them and they don't exist, that's different. But in this case, if there's a chance that you can keep going, there's no need to give up. So congratulations to Sean here in top 8 for getting game 2 over Robert. We're now 1-1. Robert will be on the play. Really excited to see these two players compete here today at Milton's Collectibles for their 2.5K Lorcana tournament here in Allen, Texas. We're live at the Dallas Card Show at their Investabilia. If you're ever in the Dallas area, head on over to dallascardshow.com to find out any of their card shows or conventions that are going on. There is one September 5th through the 8th head on over to Dallas Card Show to find out more. We want to thank you again so much for joining us here today at 20 Lore Pro. We will have all of these tournament rounds up for you to view on YouTube later on this week. We hope that you have enjoyed today's tournament and that you're looking forward to DLC Toronto just like we are. We want to thank GFQ Underground for making those beautiful playmats that you see for you on the screen. If you would like your very own playmat, head on over to 20lore.pro and head on over to our merch store where you can purchase yours today. If you have a custom mat design or are looking for a new fresh playmat, head on over to gfqunderground.com. We want to shout out Diamond Ink Apparel, who is the official artist for 20 Lore Pro. If you're looking for custom art or t-shirts, head on over to diamondinkaapparel.com. We want to thank Milton's Collectibles again for allowing us to stream today's tournament. Milton's Collectibles is a trading card store in the Dallas area. If you're looking for any cards or a place to play in the Dallas area, head on over to Milton's Collectibles. And again, I want to thank you. I'm your announcer today, SirAshtown. Have really enjoyed being here today and watching the latest in competitive Lorcana. If you're not already a part of the Discord, head on over to 20lore.pro/Discord. They have so many deck discussions, so many things going on, 5,000 members. We just hit that huge mile mark. Really wonderful community. Great to see the banter and the talk that goes on there about the latest in competitive Lorcana. Join us over there at the Discord. Really great community. Here's Robert with a turn 1 Pluto. Really what you want to be seeing here with this Mufasa list. Want to play preferably your 6 drops as early as possible. Decides to ink a dock. And play a dock. Okay, plays a Sisu. I think a dock there would have been pretty good though. It would have turned on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You would have been pretty good. Not necessarily needed though. This Sisu, especially if you have a frenemy or want to be able to quest for 2, this Sisu is going to be able to do it. You also have the shift Sisu that you have to worry about in Robert's list. Robert inking that drawn Maleficent dragon, making this play a lot easier for him. Does play the dock. Doesn't need to tap out with Pluto to do it. Now we see that Robert next turn possibly having 6. Quite a bit. Able to play a lot of the stuff in his hand. Sean here. We don't see a Diablo. Maybe an aerial this turn. Gonna have to start establishing his board state to try to set up some disruption. Even a Prince John here, not too bad if you're able to then follow it up with some discard plays using the Sir Hiss to maybe sing a Sudden Chill. Deciding to ink away the Ursula Deceiver. Actually not a bad card in this matchup, depending on the turn, because Robert's playing Be Prepareds. He is playing Brawls, but not, I believe not able to be targeted by the Ursula. 2 Sir Hisses on the board, evasive 3/1s. Robert not too worried, not having seen any Diablos on the board yet. Inks a Brawl. He's questing here, going up to 4. Makes his next character cost 1 less. And there is a 6-drop Medusa. Able to get rid of one of these Sir Hisses. I don't see any other strong follow-up plays from Robert, however. In his hand, we see a Mother Gothel and one other card. Goodness, a Surfer Stitch next turn would be a huge play for Robert. If he's able to play a turn 7 or a 7-drop Surfer Stitch draw, that card would be incredible. Sean, lots of cards in his hand. We see a Daisy Duck. Having to find a way to deal with all of these cards on Robert's side of the board. Really trying to find a way to prevent him from getting free extra reduction in the cost of his cards. The Muses here able to bounce just about everything on his side of the board that really is causing a lot of disruption, like the Dock and the Pluto. Still not enough though. Even on Under the Sea, if he's able to establish like an aerial and get all these cards out, not enough targets for Robert. Has so many strong cards. Madame Medusa being a 4/4. We see the Muses does come out with a follow-up song, Sun Chill. It most likely, or I'm sorry, it will target one of these, the Dock or Pluto. I'm assuming Dock. Just because Dock costs more, it's questing for more. Does target the Dock. Now Robert only has one character that reduces the cost. Looks like he drew another Pluto. Robert here needing to find characters that are 6 or higher, or something to ink in order to ensure that he can get there just in case Pluto's gone. Here's a Mother Gothel. Opted to not play the Dock. Could always ink it. I believe that's a Pluto. Could play out a Pluto. Does play out the Dock at the cost of tapping out the Pluto. I don't necessarily know if unless he's got a Rapunzel in hand, I don't necessarily know if I like that play, only because it leaves the Pluto now completely open for that evasive Sir Hiss to freely take out, and the Muses to just bounce your Dock, really negating anything that you necessarily may have done. There's that Pluto. It looks like in this case, Robert didn't have any play with the Pluto, not necessarily needing it. There's that Sir Hiss into the Pluto for free. Now Sean having 5 ink, enough to play Kita to protect his characters later on when he's ready to quest in. See a Sisu on the board, gonna reduce the cost after questing with the Dock. For a Madrigal able to draw one to another Mother Gothel. Not able to find any of these big characters. I think just inking this Mother Gothel might be your best choice, ensuring that you have all the ink you need. That Dock, honestly on Sean's side of the board, is either a great bounce target or challenged in. Does exactly that. Inks it, guarantees that he's got the ink. Goes up to 15. Robert's really starting to present so much on the board that Sean's going to need more than just bouncing one thing at a time. Dock has been presenting so much questing this game. Sisu questing for 2, Dock questing for 2. And here's a Cricky, giving all of Sean's characters +3. Great challengers here. Most likely taking out 3 different characters. Gonna have to take out the characters that quest for 2. There's Cricky on the board for you to see. Quest for 3. When it ETBs, you get +3 this turn to all of your other characters. At 15, even if he takes out the 2 that can quest for 2 and plus 1 more still leaves him with ability to quest for 2. Inks a Paint the Roses. Choosing challenge out here. Just find the right targets. The Sir Hiss is going into the Madame Medusa. And now this Cricky can follow up next turn and take out the Mother Gothel. Unless the Mother Gothel challenges him, which at this point Robert needs to be questing. Already at 15, would go up to 17. Any of his characters that can quest for 2 are going to be huge threats on the board. Flynn Frenemy, not going to do it here, but I think that does get him up to 6. So any of his 6 drops are now an option to be played off the top. Debating if he wants to challenge or quest. And I think that just questing here is a great option. Going up to 17, presenting threats. Eustace is able to bounce the Madrigal. You could not and hope that you draw a Rapunzel. That way you can draw more with the Mother Gothel. Decides to take out the Muses with Mother Gothel. Not a bad choice. And does decide to quest, going up to 16 with this Madrigal. Rapunzel now, if drawn, most likely not getting able to be activated because Sean most likely here is going to just challenge in, take out everything. Now Sean with 2 Creakies on the board, 6 a turn, huge clock. Mulan, I believe, quests for 2, but isn't going to be able to get the double damage off as well. But now if he draws another one, that could be pretty scary. It does quest for 2, would put him at 18. Sean most likely going to quest up, go to 6. Pretty impressive in 1 turn. This game is not over yet. This is very close. We'll see what Sean can top deck. We've seen him in earlier rounds and even in this match have great top decks. Like, we don't talk about Bruno, cards that are disruptive, that do a lot. We see an Under the Sea in his hand. It does hit Mulan and Doc. Robert's got a quest here. He's thinking about not. Because if he doesn't quest here, he's for sure next turn going to be able to go up to 20. I do think questing here is the better, safer option, only because you know your opponent plays so many bounce cards. You know they play Under the Sea. If the Muses comes out in any song, there goes your whole strategy. Okay, so there's the Under the Sea. Everything's at the bottom. Robert's at 18, just needs 1 character to quest for 2. Can play basically everything in his deck as long as it's not a dragon. There's a 2-drop. There's a 2 questing character. This will do it, folks. Right here. What is he going to top deck? He'll be able to quest going up to 18. I think that's going to do it for Sean. I think Robert has taken the game and the match here in top 8. Wow, what a close game. Those Crickies were really giving Sean just 6 lore a turn and a chance to win the whole game. I mean, 2 more lore at any point in the game really could have been the difference here. And talk about just really great Lorcana to watch right here. That was a wonderful performance and play by both Sean and Robert. Congratulations to Robert for winning our top 8 match, going into the semifinals, top 4. Sadly, I got word that we are going to have to end today's tournament. The convention hall is closing, but they are doing the top 4 just off camera. So we want to thank you so much for joining us here today with 20 Lore Pro. We're here live at Milton's Collectibles for their 2.5K. Thank y'all so much for watching over on Twitch. We're going to have all of these videos up on YouTube later on this week for you to enjoy at your leisure. Thank y'all so much for joining us as we watched the latest in competitive Lorcana with the DLC Toronto format, sets 1 through 4, and the Buckey errata. Again, I'm your announcer, SirAshtown. Really enjoyed sharing with y'all the best in Lorcana here at 20 Lore Pro. Again, if you're not a member of the Discord, head on over to 20lore.pro/Discord. Join us where we have over 5,000 members talking about competitive Lorcana. We want to thank GFQ Underground for making those mats that you see on the screen, those beautiful mats. If you'd like yours, head on over to 20lore.pro to our merchandise and buy yours today. Again, we want to thank Milton's Collectibles for hosting today's tournament and for the Dallas Card Show with their Investabilia convention for allowing us to play and to have play space to play today's tournament. We want to thank you, the viewers at home, for joining us, and we will catch y'all later on in future videos. Y'all have a great day, and I will see you later.